You're watching The Mic Check, on every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Mic Check. Tonight, we have animation copy from a little CG animated cartoon for educational television called Word World. And as someone said, say that 5 times fast. Add it to your repertoire of tongue twisters. Anyway, in this piece of copy, we have a narrator, we have a frog, and a bug. And this is geared for, obviously, 4-year-olds. So tonight we have to put on our best attitude for approaching 4-year-olds with a piece of copy. And so this will bring out the character actor in all of us.
Well, all of us willing to give it a try anyways.
I only have 9 readers, so.
Oh, I think we will. And there's, let's see.
9 readers, yeah.
This is a 3-person script, so with 9 people in the room, minus Mike's phone. That right? Yes.
That'll be 3 reads.
Yes.
Let's see. Carry the 1 divided by minus. Yep, that should be about right.
Actually, there's another character that's not accounted for that I think we could have a little bit more fun with. There's the kids yelling "rug."
Oh my!
I think we should have everybody else on the mic check just yell "rug" at that point.
I like that's what I was going to suggest.
Absolutely right, Michael.
Just have everybody else yell "rug."
Yep. If you're not reading,
well, everybody gets a chance to read the word "rug."
We all jump in and say "rug."
Rag.
No. Rug.
He's that one kid.
Rug.
The whole group of kids is singing. You got this one kid that thinks he's got a bass voice. Oh, wait a minute. He does.
Ruff was just here to say "rug."
He's the tiniest one in the group. Always the tiniest one in the group. That always makes it fair.
Like Tiny Tim?
Yeah, you got the tiny kid with the deep bassy voice. And of course you got the big kid that
he's like, I just want to thank you, and I'm gonna be the bug and the frog, and I'll try to be the narrator later on, and then we'll try to do that all together, and then we'll say rug. It's so much fun. No,
what was the name?
Working here.
What was the little kid in Little Rascals with the voice he talk along like this all the time?
Froggy.
Is that what his name was? Yeah.
Yeah. My wife is a huge Rascals fan. She doesn't like a whole lot of black and white anything, but she loves watching Little Rascals.
Okay.
And of course, with me, it's like, yeah, I can do that. But can we watch the Marx Brothers? So we are going to let's see. Which 3 are going to volunteer first?
I'll go.
I'll go.
Okay, we got Dan, Richard, and Frank. Now, who's our narrator?
I'll do that part, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, Peachy, that leaves us Frog and Bug.
Hey, that's okay. Everybody else has to be a kid.
Yep.
Jeepers. I'll be the frog.
I don't care.
My
Whatever you
internet's
want
back.
me to do is fine by me.
Frank is going to be the bug, and he acts a little bugged today.
No.
Here's the thing about playing off one of these characters is okay, you're talking to children. That's the thing to remember.
Which I never do.
And just to, have a playful attitude about it. Even if you don't do some kind of pitched up voice or anything like that, it's all in the attitude. And so take it away, guys.
And so, Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay. Ready. It's time to Build
a
word. We got to do it again. We got build a word, and then it's time to build a word. And are you ready? Because that's together.
That's actually a song, by the way. It's time to
Oh,
build a word.
that is sad. It's no singing is not happening.
Okay, we're going to skip over the song portion of that and just jump over to them building the word rug.
And just so we're gonna skip the. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
I want to hear the song.
I don't know.
Well, then, Alan, you can sing this song.
Then Frank and I are going.
It's
Build a
time.
word.
We'll just sit back and listen.
Let's build it. Let's build it now. There you go.
Yeah, I would like to hear just at least some rhyming going on between you two.
Okay.
Not rhyming. Sorry.
Let's
I mean
build it.
some.
Let's build it now.
Yeah. It's simultaneous reads. That's what I was trying to say.
Yes, that's together. So we're supposed to do the. You ready to do the? It's time to build a word, Frank.
Sure.
And it's
time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
Are
You
G.
Frog.
You. This is horrible.
Shouldn't you kids be in school or something? Learning from somebody who's qualified to teach this stuff?
Holy smokes! Yeah.
Should the kids also read the all line? Like, should everybody read that line?
Yes. Wow. Talk about stumbling. This is.
That's okay. That's the point of the first reads. We're going to mess the whole thing up, and then we're going to talk about it.
Are we gonna all do? Yay! We just built our word.
We built it. Built it.
Here we go, Bug. You got a big line. Thank you. Oh, how's the rug, Bug? Pretty snug.
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
And
So,
scene.
Not quite.
with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself. And he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of singing in this, by the way, because the all part is actually sung. Yeah, we built it. And
I'm saying this ain't working so good.
is sung.
Thanks for coming out, but I think we'll go with somebody else on the audition.
Yes, please do. It's not even good character stuff. Yeah.
Again,
Right,
though,
so
that's why we
narrator
do
will be Michael.
Okay. Thank you for sparing me the embarrassment.
You're welcome.
Who's going to be the frog, Richard?
My internet keeps going in and out. Let's see. We got the frog. Leonard, you can be the frog.
Okay.
And who's the next bug, Frank?
Let's say Goldie. Golda's going to be the frog. Or the bug, pardon me, the bug.
Okay. Everybody ready? And so Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay, ready? It's time to build a word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now. R U G.
Rug.
Yeah, we just built the word.
We built it.
We built it. Each in our own tempo. Here you go, Bug. How's the rug, Bug? Pretty snug?
I'm as snug as a bug in a rug. Thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
So, with his friends finally snug as a friend. So, with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself. And he slept like a frog in a log. The end. Okay. Let's see. So, yeah, thanks, Richard. We get it.
Slow clap.
Our next narrator will be Alan.
Later. I'm done.
Okay. Russ, you can be a frog.
Frog, okay.
Dan, you're a bug.
Dan's gone already.
Dan's gone already.
No,
Yeah,
Nathan. Nathan's going to be a bug.
Nathan's going to be a bug, yes.
I'm a bug. Okay.
You're a bug. I just thought you were already there for some reason.
It just seems like it.
Yeah.
I'm very present.
It's such a gift.
Ready?
All right.
Maybe.
And so Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay. Ready? It's time to
Build a word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
Build it now.
R U
G.
G.
Run!
Yeah, we just built the word. We built it. We built it.
We built the word.
There you go, Bug. How's the rug? Pretty snug?
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
So with his friend finally snug as a bug in the rug, Frog went off to sleep himself, and he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
All right, who's left? Who has not gone?
That's everybody.
I think we have all gone.
Unless Derek really wants to. That's a negative.
Maybe,
Okay,
Ghost
then.
Rider, the pattern is full.
So now we move on to the discussion portion of the mic check.
I've actually found the video.
You found the video of this?
Found the video of this?
Yes. I found the whole episode. I'm actually searching for the exact spot.
Little melody.
When you find it, save it till
And
the end.
by the way, Frank,
Save it
you
till
had the bug like perfect for the voice.
Oh. Who knew?
It's always the little guy that they give the big deep voice to. It's one for comedic purposes.
Yes.
And two, it just kind of makes him stand out.
You guys go ahead and continue your conversation. I'm gonna find it.
Well, my main comment is we really need to work on synchronization.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do over the internet.
It's hard over video, though.
Well, the thing is we could do it, but we just need to agree on how we're going to pattern
Yeah.
the lines.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was no agreed upon, pattern for the lines beforehand. So we all just sort of did our own thing and hoped it worked. And
Yeah.
obviously it really didn't.
And usually did.
Really particularly well.
Yeah, you got to think when something like this is built out. Most of the time, like when they say the music comes up, they may or may not have thrown in the music portion of this after everything else was done, because we all know how that works in some instances. When I did that one animation that I did, we did a Christmas episode where the scene was done, and then we did a singing portion where we were literally singing "O Come, O Come, Emmanuel," and I had to sing in here in the booth by myself, alongside of my co-actor on the other end, by listening to her singing her part. Kind of had to do the multi-track thing to do that, but yeah, it's I mean, of course, if you're in a big recording studio, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, or they could have the music track that you would play in your ear while you sing along, kind of thing.
Yeah, they're playing the music, which is a lot of times what I've had to do for toys is you got the music bed going in one ear and you're synchronizing with the music. In this case, we have no idea what the music is. Probably should have cut it out of the copy before bringing it in here. I did not.
No, that's okay. Challenges are what we're all about. But here's one commonality that I noticed that I like to point out. A lot of the lines were delivered painfully slow. Like it was really slow with some of them.
Because we're talking to kids.
Well, I mean,
they read slow, but they don't talk slow.
Yeah, they don't talk slow, and they certainly don't listen slow.
Kids are excessively smart. I mean, very, very. Sometimes they're way more intelligent to most of us adults, and they have this thing about how they get approached, and if it comes across a certain way, it will lose them very quickly. And well, when I did the very first animation I did it an animation that was designed for 4-year-olds, so kind of learned my way into. You're talking to 4-year-olds, you have to adjust how you approach this. It's got to be a little more upbeat. It's got to have a little bit more energy behind it. So yeah, that's definitely understandable that it was at too much of a slow pacing.
I got it.
Yeah.
You found it?
I found it.
Man.
Yeah. I was going to throw out the idea of using Happy Birthday as the melody for It's Time to Build a Word, Let's Build It Now. Rather than having the real melody that we don't know yet as the thing that we're trying to match. Since we all know Happy Birthday, ostensibly.
How are you thinking to
It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
Let's build it. Let's build it now.
I don't know.
That's actually a fantastic idea because it gives everybody on the same pacing.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Well, same melody, but not necessarily the same pacing.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready? You ready to see this?
Okay, let's see the scene.
So Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay, ready? It's time to
build a word.
It's time to build a word.
Let's build it. Let's build it now. Ugh.
Frog!
Yeah, we just built a word. We built it. We built it.
Here you go, Bug. How's the rug, Bug? Pretty snug?
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Thanks, Frog.
So, with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself. And he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
Okay. Somebody in here is not telling us that they actually did that, because that really sounded like a couple of guys in this room.
I thought
did a
Alan
really
had
good
the
job
bit-
on the narrater.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Alan, you did fantastic. It sounded like you. Are you sure you didn't do that?
Snug as a bug in a rug, Frank.
Yeah.
Oh,
Frank
Lord.
got the attitude right.
And the other thing I would say, Leonard, maybe back off from your mic. Good voicing and all that stuff.
Okay.
But just back off. Do kind of zone
Yeah.
3 instead of
Yeah.
zone 1, because you were really clipping there when you were doing your things.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done anything in a while. Okay, repositioned.
After seeing it, I actually don't think we were going too slow. It was just that it sounded like we were talking slow. We were trying to.
Match.
It was pretty close. I mean, for pacing and everything.
We chased
Yeah.
Michael away.
Yeah, I think it was because we were trying to get our synchronization, and it was
Yeah.
our first time reading.
And yeah, with doing video over the net, it's depending upon who's got what speed for what. And
Yeah.
Now you think about how things
It
are put
doesn't
together
work.
nowadays, where you are doing things remotely. Like I said, I had to sing alongside of somebody remotely.
Yeah.
You know, of
Yeah,
course, it was a
somebody-
Christmas song. It was something I knew. You know, something I was very, very familiar with. I mean, you know, you grew up a certain way, and you hear certain songs every year. You know them by heart. But
Yeah.
of course, I had to pretend not to be able to sing as well, because I was supposed to be, you know, some 30-year-old guy that couldn't quite stay on key. So I had to actually stay off key to sing.
It's all right. I can't sing on key anyway. So.
But
So hard to force yourself there, though.
I did take note that during the segment that they were sort of singing yet not singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost like spoken to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that chili spot.
Yeah. Okay.
Recitative.
And all the segments were really very separated. So I wonder whether the parts that you do together, maybe the two people doing it should just go like on 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do their lines. You know,
Even then, with the connection differences, it's going to be a little bit off.
it's gonna be off. Yeah. Okay.
R-UG instead of R-U-G.
Yeah. I saw that subtle difference in direction, which is guaranteed what they were directed to do during the spot was.
Well, they
was-
used UG throughout the entire that entire episode. So
Yeah, because they had the two letters together.
yeah,
Because they
Jug and
decided that was the sound they were letter sound combination they were teaching, obviously.
Yeah.
We got bugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the whole alliteration of snug and a bug in a rug, snug is a bug in a rug, not alliteration, but whatever that is. Snug is a bug in a rug. Yeah, UG seems to be the big focus there.
Yeah.
So,
Kinda
should we
dug it,
change
right?
it? Should we change the script to say UG, so R-UG instead of just R-U-G?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to change the script, I don't think. But I mean, we can all
Basically, just going with the
Like
original
9 years ago.
direction.
It's time to build a word.
Let's build
If the director of this is listening to this, we're going with your direction.
That's a.
So then the next, I think the next big challenge coming up is going to be coordinating, you know, I guess since it's not necessarily a song, the bounce in delivery for the whole, like, you know, frog and bug combined thing. You know, that from what it sounded like, it was more like, it's time to build a word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
Yeah.
So, I
that's
mean,
exactly stuck in my head for the next 2 weeks, I guarantee.
So the thing that I think that the big issue here is going to be, how are you going to mark up your script, or what are you going to do as a mental device to keep that going, to sort of coordinate with your co-actor while doing that line. Like maybe there should be like
Or
a
point.
signal or something, or a
Yeah.
point.
Well, we'll point at each other. That's what we would normally do in a studio.
Well, my problem with that is I'm reading. I have the text in front of me, and I'm looking at the text, and I'm not looking at the camera of what
You can't
everybody
remember,
else is
you
doing.
can't remember the 3 words. Build a word.
Well, I don't want to jump back and forth.
You
Well,
minimize your text.
You
so
better get used to it because that's what you do if you're doing 2-person reads in a studio, man. So
Well,
it's something you got to learn how to do.
Visual and audio cues. So
Either
when you
that or
can-
pick the script up in paper and put it in front of your mic someplace so that or in front of the monitor so you can see it. Try doing that.
Or we could also use an audio cue, which they could also cut out if this was a session. Probably not going to do that, obviously, but something like a snap or I don't know, maybe a sharp breath or something, just some sort of audio cue to time each other up on.
3, 2, 1. It's time to build a word.
Yeah.
I got my little clicker.
Get the metronome click in.
I've got my little dog clicker.
Yeah, I'm not wearing my dog clicker right now.
I just grabbed mine off my desk.
There, I can snap. I had to take off my heavy rings.
So the other thing is while the lines weren't necessarily delivered like super quickly throughout the whole thing, there was some speed to it. There was a regular pacing that went that the episode had, and obviously for kids with shorter attention span, you don't want to have big long breaks of time because even a couple of seconds and you could completely lose them. So I think it's also going to be imperative that as we're going through the different characters and as we're going through the lines, we make sure to skip everything over that says scene or that doesn't require us to say anything. Because I mean, I can almost hear when somebody's reading through the scene lines and whatnot, because there's that extra long gap there. So however you want to do it, if you want to highlight that in a different color or something like that, so you or actually no, that would be a bad idea. You want to highlight what you're going to say.
Yes.
Highlight your own lines separate from those, so you know that those are where your eyes need to be drawn, not necessarily the scene. Because even in an actual session, you'd leave a little break in between those lines, and they'll just add all that in post. I mean, they'll probably break up each of these sentences into its own soundbite and plug that in right where they need it, corresponding to the animation. So, well, I guess I mean in that case, I suppose that.
Yeah, why do the pauses matter? Because they are going to break it up and then just mix it.
There's a lot of music going on through the background as well throughout the whole episode. It's not just like scenes. Like every episode, I guarantee you there's probably 30 seconds in a 30-minute episode that has no music. Maybe.
Wow.
So I've seen that. I actually saw this episode before. Sad.
You've been watching a lot of cartoons lately, huh?
What do you do in your spare time, Dan? I'm just curious.
Hey, if you have a 4-year-old running around the house, you see all this stuff whether you want to or not.
This is probably like 7 years ago. And I still remember it because the next part of this episode was compound words. Oh, dear. That's bad. I can remember
that you can quote that.
That's never bad. That's never bad. This is your voiceover education.
And this
Alrighty
shows you
then.
the power of music and helping people remember things.
Okay, so how are we going to cue each other for the scenes that are supposed to be read together? So let's go ahead and agree on that. Should we use a point or should we use like a snap or something?
I got my.
Hopefully the snap doesn't get rid of half of us here.
Can we have the narrator be the one to do the clicking so that the one speaking can focus on speaking?
That's a good idea.
We could do that. Yeah, give the narrator another job besides the 2 lines.
And the rug.
You'll be the one to snap and get everybody hopefully on the same page.
All right.
Heavy on the word hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear a lot of the directions, but I think I understand pretty well.
When are the snaps going to come in? How many are there? Just one?
Yeah, that's what I was curious too.
Well, you've got
Well-
okay, ready. It's time to, and then the both of us have to. You have to read there. Yep, you would have it there, and then you would have it. It's time to build a word, and then it's just together from there all the way down to the kids. Everybody, you guys all saying rug. Then we all do yay. We just build a word. We build it. We build it.
So just one time.
Yeah, because that one just goes through all of that. Then.
So would it be like a, and then we do build a word, it's time, I mean, how will we use that? I'm just curious.
It's time to build a word.
So after it's time to click, everybody together, build a word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now. Ugh, rug. Yeah, we just built a word. We built it. We built it. And then that's when it breaks apart. So
Okay.
it's going to be, it should be a fairly even, it should be a fairly, well, maybe not quick, but regular pace through that whole thing so that, you know, you stay synced up that hopefully that whole time.
Will we have, so is the narrator just doing a single, you know, click to let you know that that's when you start, or
Yeah.
are we getting a tempo from them?
Single click.
Single click. That's what I want to know.
So only in front of build a word the first time.
Right.
Okay.
And it's build
Yeah.
a word that you got build a word. It's time to build it. And then it's paste, plop, plop, plop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even see a need for the click before build a word, because it's time to from frog. I mean, that's your click right there.
Well, I mean, if you
That's-
want to
that's
try it
safe
without the
already.
click, well, let's go for it.
Yeah. I mean, unless we're going to use it for a tempo, I don't think the click adds anything.
Now, since it's only one.
Yeah, if you just go ready, it's time to
build a
and
word.
you just continue the sentence in the same pace. It's time to build a word. And you don't need
No.
a click in there.
Well, it's time to, and then take a period pause.
Why
Like,
doesn't frog just follow? I mean, bug follow the lead of frog because frog
Yeah, that's
is the
basically
one.
what it should be. I don't think there even needs to be a pause there. Really? I mean,
It's time
continue.
to build
Build
a
a
word.
And you see,
Yeah,
that's the issue that we're talking about here is the
Yeah.
delivery happened at two different paces.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can put a pause
Right,
there or
but-
not. I mean,
but I'm
either
saying
solution is valid.
If frog watches the lead, bug watches the lead of frog, it should work out.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the way you want to give it a go, then let's give that a go.
Okay.
All right, so let's get started. And so, Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay, ready? It's time to build
the
word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
Can we start over? I'm following you, Richard. So you just go. I'm watching you, and I'm
Okay.
following you. Don't
I'm just
don't
trying
wait
to
for
slow
me.
down. Yeah, this
No,
time.
no, no.
Don't slow
When
down.
you try to
just-
slow
just
down,
keep
he
going.
tries to slow down. You both slow down too far.
Yeah,
It's
so
time
just
to
keep
build
going.
a
I'll
word.
follow you. Have no
Let's
worries.
build it.
All
Let's
right,
build
I'll
it.
just do it and
You just do it. I'm following you. I'm watching you.
keep
and
up
I'm
and
watching you.
make sure you hit the changes. Okay.
And so, Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay, ready? It's time to build a word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now. Ugh. Rug.
Yay!
We just
We
built
just
a
built a
word.
word.
We
built
built
it.
it.
We built it. Here you go, Bug. Yeah. How's the rug, Bug? Pretty snug?
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
So, with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself, and he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
All right. Opening it up to feedback. What did everybody think?
It is going to be hard to get that Cohen.
Sorry,
There's
the
a half
logistics
second.
just don't work for this. I don't know what else to
Well,
tell you.
There's a half-second time delay between Frank and Richard, and
Yeah.
it's not their fault. It's the internet's fault.
And
So-
mine's probably the slowest.
Well, don't forget, I have to stop for customs at the border before I get to them.
Good point.
All right, massive disclaimer. We are all over the internet. There is a delay.
Yes.
Disclaimer over.
We've got East Coast, West Coast, South.
Yeah, we
Frank's
got everywhere. Yeah.
That's right. I gotta go through customs. So
He starts to say his lines. Hey, Mr. Stecky, do you have anything to declare?
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. That's what I'm declaring.
And where did
Okay.
you get your rug from?
From my friend Frog.
I don't know nothing about this. No, not me. It wasn't my.
Frog
Black
brought me,
market drugs.
by
He
the way,
bought it in the States.
Frog brought me the rug from Mexico, and he didn't declare it.
Oh,
Don't even have to
man.
do that in Canada anymore.
So then, all in all, I think it was actually, for the limitations that we have, fairly well timed up. I thought it slowed down a little bit more than I would have personally liked to hear at the end, but that's just my personal opinion. Of course, if somebody agrees or disagrees, I'd love to hear it. But I think in general, it was all, for what we could do, pretty good, except when we all started the all section. Like everybody's pace was random and different.
Guys missed your.
It all sounded the same to me. Oh no, I'm just kidding.
well, we should try it one more time, guys. What do you think?
I think so.
Or not?
Oh, yeah.
Oops, I got to get back up. I need to go here. There we are.
We'll try going a little faster at the end. See if it makes a difference.
Okay. And so, Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay, ready? It's time to build a word.
It's
time
to
build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it. Let's build it now.
R.
Ugh.
Rug.
Yay! We just
built a word.
Build it. Here you go, Bug. How's the rug, Bug? Pretty snug, huh?
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
So, with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself, and he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
All right. Feedback. Opening it up. What did everybody think?
Better.
Better.
I think
Yeah.
that timing is about as good as you can expect in this format.
Yeah, I personally felt also that the pace was really good towards the end as well. Like it kept you going through the story. Did anybody else like the slightly quicker pace?
Yeah. 4-year-old me would have been glued to the screen. So, yeah.
Yes,
so
channel your
in
inner
other
voice.
words, you would have been glued to the screen.
Nathan, you're still 4, aren't you?
Hopefully not super glue, but
I am.
Nah, but just like I used to be when I would watch Sesame Street or The Electric Company.
I'm happy with mine. I'm happy with Richard and Frank. Any questions? Anybody else? Frank,
right, looks
I
like
told
we're
you you
good.
had the bug, dude.
Well, when he gets done doing detective shows, he can do children's television.
There you go.
I'd love to hear it too. All right, so I guess we're moving on to the next set of readers, aren't we?
It's Michael,
Yeah.
Leonard, and Goldie. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes.
That's us. All
And
right,
the
Leonard,
alternate-
Goldie, are you two ready?
sure, let's do it.
All right. And so Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay, ready? It's time to build a word. It's time to build a word. Let's build it. Let's build it now. our ugh.
Rug.
Yeah! We just built a word. We built it. We built it. There you go, Bug.
Ah,
How's the rug, Bug? Pretty snug?
I'm as snug as a bug in a rug. Ah. Thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
So, with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went to sleep himself, and he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
You missed a word. Michael.
Yeah. You said went to sleep instead of went off to sleep.
Went off to sleep.
You can voice. It's okay.
So, with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself, and he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
There you go.
Cool, I finally got it.
Very
Woot.
children's narration there, Michael. I mean,
What, did I do something wrong?
Do you? No. That's actually good narration. Do you read to kids a lot? Like
Nope.
No.
Nope. Not at all. although I don't know if you want to consider a sales training video talking to kids, then yeah.
See,
Yeah,
your
I do that a lot.
acting skills are working. Now, once you have kids of your own, it will become natural. If it doesn't, there's a problem.
Okay, so what did everybody think of the overall performance? What did everybody think of that whole thing? Let's hear some feedback.
It's so hard to judge and say anything when stuff doesn't match up, and then you're supposed to be reading together, and one's over top of the other one. You can't tell who's doing what. It's just not working. It was just hunky dory. It was about as good as ours. It was okay.
Yeah, I find it really hard to judge these two.
Yeah.
Okay. Having waded through time delay stuff because of doing television, really had their syncing been a little bit better. Thank you, Internet. I think they would have been just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one point, Goldie's network speed picked up just a little bit, and she actually closed out a word right in sync with Richard.
Leonard.
No,
I don't know if anybody caught that. Was it?
Yeah, it was right at the end of the sentence.
I'm sorry, my head. It synced up right there. I was like, okay, they are right on target, in spite of the obstacle of the internet. Which, I mean, there are, for us who voice from home, there are hurdles to go over, and if you can get through this, you can get through anything, and having done stuff where I have to sync up with music and use my multi-track editor to listen to music and sing at the same time and get it spot on without having to do any fidgeting with the waveform, and I'm a doggone perfectionist when it comes to that stuff. You guys are doing great. You really are. So, I mean, that.
So basically, what you're saying is, in spite of the internet, you're doing good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that if we had these individually recorded and synced them up in whatever editor you like to use, it'd probably be pretty close. But because of the internet, we gotta sort of, unfortunately, deal with that.
Yeah, I can see why there's the sentiment floating around that all the people acting in this animation stuff need to be in LA so they can all get together in the same room.
Yeah, being close is super important for that. Maybe not in the same room, but at least within the same state.
Yeah, being a place with a fiber drop would be good.
Oh man.
Hello,
Right.
Google, Comcast. Come on, we here out in the country need some of that stuff. Okay.
I'd like to have a freaking just straight line internet.
Well, despite the
Going off of
problems, do you guys
Wi-Fi.
want to give it another shot?
Well,
I'd say if we want to do anything at all with the children's book, we better move on to the next
Okay.
group.
sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So let's see. It's Russ and Nathan
And
yourself.
and me. All
Yeah,
right.
no.
We're ready. And so Frog and Bug rushed back to Frog's log.
Okay. Ready? It's time to build a word. It's time to build a word.
Let's build it. Let's build it now.
R
Ugh.
rug.
Yeah, we just built a word. We built it.
We built it. Here you go, Bug.
Ah,
How's the rug, Bug?
I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Ah, thanks, Frog.
You're welcome, Bug.
So with his friend finally snug as a bug in a rug, Frog went off to sleep himself. And he slept like a frog in a log. The end.
Okay. So, Nathan, did you sound like you were in tune with Russ on your end?
I
Because I
came
know you
off.
two are close together, right?
Yeah, we're just over the mountain from each other. That doesn't mean the internet's going to be all that great, but still.
Just saying.
yeah, Nathan cut out on my end for a couple of seconds where Russ
We're
didn't.
we're about 45 minutes away from. Which part of North Carolina are you in?
On the beach.
Oh, okay. You're over near Myrtle Beach, right?
Yeah, other side.
Okay. He's a little bit further away than just over the mountain. He's a couple hours away, so yeah, there might be a bit of a delay.
Well, the weird thing is yeah, like was mentioned earlier, actually, Nathan, you cut out while Russ was talking. So I don't know what was going on there, but that was...
Yeah. I've got a tiny bit of a weak signal
issues.
here, so it may be my Wi-Fi.
Okay. I think all in all, the acting was pretty good. Still slightly on the slower end for my taste, but, you know, that's just me. I don't do animation, so I don't know if I'm wrong here. But,
No,
yeah.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it ends up being slow when you're trying to match up and then you're off and you're trying not to listen to the one that's maybe behind and then you try to slow down and then it just kind of collapses and falls.
Yeah, the rhythm changed. The rhythm actually started out pretty good.
It did.
Up to the point where Nathan cut out pretty much, and then it slowed way down. That's what I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, technical limitations aside, this was, I think, in general, the read ended up being slightly slower than I would have liked to hear personally. But all in all, I think it was still a really solid read in general.
Was the clip that Dan played slow for you too?
Yeah.
I didn't actually notice that it was really slow. Then again, I was also paying attention to what was happening on screen. So
Yeah, it's different when you have the video there.
Yeah. Having the visuals does change things up a little bit. So I don't know. Again, it's just my own personal opinion. I'm not saying it's definitive or anything. So
And there is a probability that the original actors for this worked with a unfinished animatic while doing it, because that when you're doing animated stuff, you can factor that in, that they would like, okay, you're going to be doing this in this scene, and they've got the animatic playing out on the screen. And course, in that case, that's where a little bit of improvisation comes in, because you're watching the character and you're doing what the character's doing. And when I did Robbie, I did most of what I did with Robbie, I did by an animatic on the screen. It's playing out. I'm watching Robbie fly, and I'm in here flapping my arms and calling the dog and laughing and doing all the stuff that the bird was doing on the animatic. So that's pretty much how that works out. And you know, each of these actors may have been doing this by themselves, and then they synced it up.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can time shift audio too, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well.
it depends upon where this was produced as well. It's all these tiny little things to factor in, but at the same time, for the ensemble way we're doing this tonight, you guys are doing great.
Yeah, as good as technology will allow.
Yes, yes.
And
If we
it's
had
modern.
IPTV or Source Connect, it might be a little better because it kind of puts you in the same room together. It's a little bit, you know, tighter than using Zoom.
I'm sort
Alrighty
of
then.
looking forward to the fact that there seems to be a lot more animation, at least the anime stuff, happening in Vancouver, thanks to Netflix.
Yeah.
While technically in Canada is close enough for Seattle.
Some of it's moving the Atlanta way too.
Yes.
That's a nice short drive for me. 2 hours, man. 2 hours.
All right, so everybody has gone, but from what I understand, we're not going to go around again. There's something else happening too.
Yes, we have another piece of copy. It's
All right.
from a book, and we're going to read probably at least a paragraph out of this.
Actually,
Yeah.
I have an idea. Why
Yes.
don't we keep the same trio and have one read one paragraph, one read the second, and then one read the third?
Ooh,
Oh, that's a
you
good
go.
idea.
I like that one.
There
Sure.
are multiple characters in here, so
Yeah.
that can work.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions about any of the background or anything, you can ask, or if you guys want me to say anything about the book.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to
Yeah.
hear. We'd love your input specifically on this. How you want this to be, read. How you want to hear it. What you sort of imagined while putting this
Yeah.
together.
I'm actually somewhat curious. Do we want that author's input here before or after we do our initial reads? I'd almost like to get it after, but I'm fine either way.
Yeah, that sounds good. I can give you the background of what's happening and then just let you guys go and see what
Yeah, that works.
sounds like.
All right. Yeah. Then you can give us whatever any direction or feedback you'd like.
Okay. So basically where you're coming up into where this part is in the book, it's at the very beginning. It's one of the most important parts, actually. There's 3 characters, Ms. Groundhog, Miss Bear, and Sir Hound, and they're actually just meeting. They were sent some urgent letters, and they're all meeting at the same place that they've never met before. And they're coming up at this, basically this place called the End of the Earth, which is like this dystopian, wasteland kind of area. So you'll see a couple of the characters are scared or whatever else. So they're kind of at this desert with lava and lightnings coming down from the sky. Anyway, this is where they actually first meet, and then it goes on to the rest of the book, where they go on their adventures and stuff like that. So I don't know. You guys ask questions if you want to.
What's the age of your target audience?
So I like to say limitless, but I mean, this book has some really hard words in it. So it's something that a parent would read to their smaller child, or I'd say 10, 12 years old could probably read it. It's very long too. It's it's completely illustrated. It's 55 pages.
Okay.
So I'd say 10 to 12.
The segment we have here, is that 1 page or 2 pages or 3 pages?
So this is actually spread across two pages, but there's different number of words on some page. Some of them might have 1 paragraph, some of them might have 6.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan and Richard, I guess you and two and me are the first ones to go.
So who wants to
I'm
read
trying to
it?
mark stuff.
Who wants to read the first paragraph? Who wants to do the
Doesn't
second?
matter. You guys all decide and just point at me and tell me what you want me to do.
Frank, why don't you start since you were like third on the list? Why don't you do number one this time?
Okay, so I'm more of a narrator type then, I guess, because I don't see
Okay.
any characters in this one. So that would mean Dan would be second, and Richard, you would be third.
You want
That's fine.
We could change it up in our second read, but it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to get them listed here. Trying to get my colors that go with the same person. Okay, here.
The great thing about it is it actually tells you who is who when they're talking.
Yeah.
So that's mainly why this section was picked.
Okay, so which paragraph are you doing, Dan?
I'll do second or third. Which one do you want to do?
I'll do the second one. I'll let you do the
females.
Well, she's up in the second one as well.
Yeah.
You get to be a bear and a groundhog. I get to be a groundhog and a dog.
All right, Frank, whenever you're ready.
Okay, here we go. The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Her voice was all a quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes, and a confident stride. Oh, don't be afraid. I'm here to save you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle, then get out of here.
I am Miss Groundhog,
she introduced, still distressed.
I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I am not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
Okay.
Derek, you would get to lead out. What do you think?
Do you want me to say it right now, or do you guys all want to go before I?
No, go for it. Go for it. Let's hear your initial thoughts.
Okay. Whenever I guess the very first paragraph was amazing. Like I was like, wow, that's really good. I'm not like I don't know how to critique too much of like voice actors or what I'm expecting, but I was like, wow, that's really that hit the nail on the head there. So kudos.
Thank you.
The second paragraph, he kind of cut out so I didn't get to hear him do Miss Groundhog.
My internet. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, all in all, I think like you messed up a couple of the words there in the dog, but the voice I think did pretty good. I was expecting something like whenever I think of the dog, I'm thinking like a monocled, like old, Civil War vet, something like that, and then for the third paragraph, pretty good. I'm going to critique him the most because he's my brother.
Let's hear
None
it.
of us are shy here, so it's okay.
So when I think of like Miss Groundhog, I think she's similar, I guess, to like what I would think of like a Piglet type character, like the voice of Piglet or whatever, something similar to that, and then
a little bit more like this.
Not quite old lady.
Yeah, not quite old witch lady or whatever that was. I'm just messing with you, man. But no, I think it was really good, and I heard you guys. I'm excited because I heard you guys do that last reading, and I think went very well. I went down the stairs to get an adult beverage. I thought there was some kids cartoon going on in my room whenever I went down there. So it was really good. So you guys are doing good. That I think that was a good read. So I can't wait to hear everybody else.
All right.
Okay. So, with all of that direction, would you guys like to try it again?
Sure.
Yeah,
Do
Don't screw
the
it up
rest
this
of us
time,
have
Frank.
comments we want to throw in?
Sure, go for it.
Sure. Let's hear it, Leonard.
Yeah. My thought while you were doing it was that this is all written in verse. It has a certain scansion to it, so it threw me off a bit when there was some improvisation and you altered the words a bit.
That was mentioned.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Is that it?
Oh, that was my main thing. I don't know if anyone else had anything.
All right, Frank.
I think that's it. I think it's mostly just stick to the words and the cadence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I often see poetry, I don't know. I guess there is a rhythm, but often, like when I think of Shakespeare, although it is an iambic pentameter, and so the rhythm still comes through, there is a bit of the flow of the sentence as well. So the end of the line doesn't necessarily break the flow. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. See,
Yeah, it's all one continuous flow.
This
So
is why
it's
I don't know how to
trees
critique.
sparse at the
That
place of
sounds
their
great.
meeting, but the trees were sparse at the place of their meeting. So
It
you don't
kinda makes-
necessarily have the.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of like Chaucer, you know,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like music. I mean, there's a certain rhythm to it, and you don't want to have just pauses that throw the whole thing off.
Yeah, except for the.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
I actually don't know if I put all the punctuation in there either. So, sorry.
Well, that's not helping us out none.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cadence and on this as being something similar to "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" type thing.
That yeah. As far as the punctuation goes, hey, every one of us in here, we know how to dance around punctuation or lack of punctuation. So
I don't know, Nathan. Sometimes you have a bad habit of ignoring some punctuation.
True.
All right.
But okay. Well, yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and give it another go?
All righty. The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver.
I'm scared.
She stated, her voice all a-quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes, and a confident stride. Why, don't be afraid, I'm here for you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. I am Miss Groundhog. I am Miss Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I am not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
Okay. So there was a word skipped in the first paragraph at the end for this small and motley crew. Small was skipped.
Oh,
and then,
okay.
Second to last line in the second paragraph, it's "do not be afraid." You contracted it to "don't be afraid."
Ah. Well, that will be a whole lot better there, ma'am. Do not be afraid. Why, I'm here for you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow. Better?
Yes. Better.
Yeah. Much.
All I can say is sorry.
Come on, Frank.
Wait a minute. You're not supposed to be saying sorry in the booth.
Womp, womp, womp.
Pick up, yes, but not sorry.
There, I did my pickup. I'm done.
Well, I felt overall the cadence was stuck much more to what I was hearing in my head when I was reading the text.
Yay! I'm going to
That was
say
good.
that we all actually followed Frank's cadence, the way he read it. I mean, Richard kept the same cadence throughout his, and then I kept the same cadence through Richard's. May have changed a hair, but that's the
Ooh,
first paragraph kind of
I
set
could
the-
screw with you guys then.
Groundhog, bear, and hound. It's not any hairs.
What was it?
That was a bad joke. Never mind. If I need to explain that joke, it wasn't.
We all went.
Oh,
You said it was just
oh.
all
The
hair,
group. Goldie went.
and I said there was no hair. Anyway, but clearly I have to go to sleep.
All right,
So-
Derek, any more?
No, I just can't stop smiling when I'm listening to this thing get read. It's great. I love it. Yeah, I think the cadence was definitely better, and everybody reads these stories to their kids in a different way. So I like to hear the variety of different ways that you guys are putting this out. It's great.
And what you were saying with the directions, was that closer to what you were hearing in your head, Sir Hound to be? Something like that?
Yeah, I think that was much closer. Yeah, I
Okay.
liked it.
Okay.
All
we move on?
right. Yeah, let's move on.
That last line where it says, if there is no danger, there is no life I can save. I think they're saying there's no life I can save. Like the I needs to be stressed there.
I am not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that makes good sense.
That did make more sense.
Good catch, Russ. Or who was it?
Russ.
Yeah, it was
Russ.
Russ.
Yeah, it was Russ.
Yeah, people move around, and then you're like, wait,
Yeah, it's like, wait, you were
I'm over there. I'm over there. and Brink's down there, and Alan's over there.
Move on?
How'd you do that?
Yes, moving on. So it's myself, then Leonard, then
And Goldie, yep.
Okay.
Sure, we can do that order.
I'm kind of tempted, if I may, to take over the first paragraph because I was hearing it in my head a bit differently, and I'm curious about the feedback.
Okay.
Well, I'll be happy to switch with you after the first read. I would like to give it a try, though, for the first
Okay.
read. That's all right.
That's fine.
The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray, the ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. I'm scared, she stated, her voice all a quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes and a confident stride. Do not be afraid, I am here for you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. I am Miss Groundhog, she announced, still distressed. I have no trade to offer on this frightening quest. I'm not courageous or fearless or brave. If there's danger, there's no life I can save.
All right, let's get some feedback. What did y'all think?
Start with Derek.
Okay. Again, I thought the first paragraph was really good. He did a great job. There was a couple pauses in there that I was like, there is some mistakes in some of those. It looks like some of those punctuations that might be throwing people off, and then the second one sounded just like as if, if I was going to listen to a book on tape, this is what I would hear, one person reading it and not trying to change their voice too much to fit the characters. Not as fun, but So good.
Well, I'll take it as a compliment anyway if it
Yeah.
sounds just like a
Yeah, that
audio
like
tape.
if I was listening to Harry Potter or something and they were doing the voices, that he wouldn't change his voice too much. But it definitely vary from character to character. And then the third paragraph, I thought the Miss Groundhog did really good. I thought that was a great voice for little Miss Groundhog. So all my stuff is positive. Sorry, like
No, that's
I can't critique you guys.
Well, maybe we should really butcher it here.
Yeah, let's. No, we'll go ahead and switch, Leonard. You and I will switch, so you can do the first paragraph this time. I'll do the second.
Positive feedback is still feedback. You did, Goldie. You contracted theirs twice. That's what I heard.
Oops.
Yeah, you changed the introduce to something else to announced or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I probably did. Yes. Okay. Got it. Not sure how I did that. Has no similar words, but.
That's okay. You get another try at it.
All right.
All right, Leonard, go ahead and kick us off.
Okay. The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for the small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. "I'm scared," she stated, her voice all a-quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes and a confident stride. "Do not be afraid, I am here for you now. Sir Hound is my name," he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We'll solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. I am Miss Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I am not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
All right, opening it back up. What did you think of that reading?
Mike, this is the first time I've ever seen you not be perfect, but you seemed a little fast, and like I didn't feel the character really when you were reading.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sir Hound kind of just sounded like you were just still doing the narration.
Yeah, I caught that too.
Okay, I can change that up a little bit more if you want me to go again. But I will take it as a very deep compliment that you started off by saying this is the first time you've not heard me be perfect. Because this is definitely not the first time I've not heard me be perfect.
Well, the thing is, your Sir Hound did not lean over into a corporate narration, so that was good.
I at least got that down.
Sir Hound was selling Mazdas today.
Actually, today it was Hyundai.
Okay.
So today he was not selling Hyundais. Anyway. Okay. So I got to lean more into a character for Sir Hound.
I'm not Sir Hyundai.
Derek, what did you think of those reads?
I mean, you guys are the experts, so I honestly, I thought the first part it did really good again. I think I've heard it three different narrations from the first paragraph, and I liked all of them. So yeah, I think they were right. Whenever you went into the Sir Hound, you kind of just sounded like you just kept on reading. So it was hard to figure out that you were actually going into his character.
Okay.
And then again, Miss Groundhog was great. I like the voice of Miss Groundhog. So,
way to go, Goldie.
What we're, I guess, hopefully this can help you narrow down what you might be thinking and what you might like to say. But when we do ask for feedback, we're looking for, because I mean, you created this. Obviously, this is your work, and we're doing our darndest to try to interpret what's going on in your head with just words. So what we would
when
love
I put it together, it was just words. So it's in my head. I have an idea of what I'm basically my voice saying these words, and of course when I'm putting the words together for Miss Groundhog and Sir Hound and Miss Bear, I have kind of an idea in my head, but again, like when I'm putting it down on paper, this character says these words, like basically. So, whenever I hear the variation of people actually saying what it sounds like, I'm like, oh yeah, that could work. That's really good. I like that. Of course, like for example, Ms. Bear, I always think of more of a stronger female character. She's super, clever and like the leader of the group. And then of course, Sir Hound, like I said, it makes me think of the older, like war veteran, really gentlemanly and
chivalrous is what comes to my mind.
Chivalrous, exactly. And then Miss Groundhog, I think I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Goldie. Yeah, I think that is very close to what I was thinking whenever I was putting that character together. So very meek and she ends up being very strong at the end, but right now she's very meek and doesn't think she can do anything. I think that's what I was thinking the whole time anyways.
Okay, so the general consensus is I need to actually put a character onto Sir Hound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. One more time.
I got a recommendation, Michael, and this was just kind of why I was playing with my jaw for a minute there, because Sir Hound is, if he's going to be an older gentleman, a veteran of sorts, he would sound like this. And being that he's a hound,
I have an idea I'd like to try, if that's okay.
Okay.
Beforehand. But all right, well, Leonard, want to kick us off again?
Okay. You want to do the second paragraph again?
Yeah.
Okay. The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. "I'm scared," she stated, her voice all a-quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes, and a confident stride. "Do not be afraid. I am here for you now. Sir Hound is my name," he announced with a bow.
My name is Ms. Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. I am Ms. Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trade to offer on this frightening quest. I am not courageous or fearless or brave. If there's danger, there is no life I can save.
You're hired. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that Miss Groundhog is amazing, isn't it?
She's so sweet. I just dearly love my little groundhog. Michael, I'm going to just say, it made me snicker. I was not looking. I was trying to look down and just listen. And your "don't be afraid" sounded like it should be shaken. No.
So that's what I was thinking. I was like,
I can't even get it out.
So I've heard two different Sir Hounds now, right? So
Sir Hound is now Sean Connery.
Yeah, the chivalrous, good look. It sounds like, you got to be good looking and debonair and chivalrous Sir Hound, and then of course the more country style gentlemanly Sir Hound. I think they're both really
I heard it went, no, that works, but it sure sounds like he needs a martini.
Yes, it was very James Bondian. Let's be chivalrous.
That was awesome.
Hound was wearing a kilt.
Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad.
I didn't say it was bad. It's just all of a sudden that's the picture I saw in my head when I'm not
popped in your head. Okay, got it. Sean Connery Hound.
Sure, Sean Connery.
I do have one note
Do not be afraid.
I do have one note for Michael there. The character I felt was much better.
Mm-hmm.
I'd highlight the confident just a little more. No fear in his eyes and a confident stride.
Okay.
And your,
so
and your
so make
narration,
of that what you will.
yeah, and your narration read, Leonard, sounded almost spooky. Like you were trying,
Yeah,
like
just,
you were trying
well,
to kill,
look at
scare
the.
them.
Yeah, very.
I actually
Well,
like.
it's a spooky setting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, not that
Yeah,
spooky.
it is pretty bleak.
Yeah, it
So-
was kind of whispery,
Okay.
like we were coming out of the woods.
So you want a little more sunshine in there.
Sunshine,
Well,
lollipops,
and-
and rainbows.
Okay.
I beat you to it, Richard.
Do you want to go to a third group or read this again? Just throwing it out there.
General ask, one more read from us or a different
Why
group?
not? It doesn't take very long.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Okay. Shall I start it off again?
Of course.
Okay. The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for the small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. "I'm scared," she stated, her voice all a-quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes and a confident stride. "Do not be afraid. I am here for you now. Sir Hound is my name," he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. I am Miss Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trade to offer on this frightening quest. I am not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
I want to give you a hug, Golda.
Why?
Okay, Miss Groundhog.
Say it's okay. Honestly, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, I'm here to protect you, little lady. You just snuggle up and you'll be fine, darling.
So I tried to tone down a little bit of the Sean Connery in my Sir Hound.
Listen, Julia.
I actually like the Sean Connery better, but
Yeah, it felt like it lost a little bit of the character while you were toning it down. I mean, it was still there, but not quite as much.
Michael has dropped out of the scene there.
We didn't hate the character. It was just that's what we heard. Sorry. There was nothing wrong with it.
It's that whole thing of, I didn't like the Sean Connery. The producer went with Sean Connery. It's the children's explainer spot at the TV station that I did. I didn't like the first read. The producer went with the first read because he liked
Got it. So the
It's the Duracell
Sean
commercial.
Connery Sir Hound would have been hired. Got it. Yeah. Okay. And you see, this is why I keep saying voiceover is really, really difficult because it's also subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody didn't like the Sean Connery read to begin with. It was just that we were making fun of it. That's all.
Yeah.
It was
Startling how it
what we
impacted
heard.
us.
Yeah, I'd like that take on Sir Hound. Actually, I was like,
Oh, you did? Okay.
The rest of the book, I'd kind of wonder what it would be like if he was like more of a debonair Sean Connery type.
Okay.
I've noticed in the first read, the first paragraph or whatever, where it says for more than a moment or two, people are reading it with the line above, but it could go with the line underneath instead. So say for more than a moment or two, the situation was seemingly more than expected.
Derek, where's the
it is the three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. Sorry.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, and I can see what you're saying, but everything else is like 2 lines at a time, 2 lines at a time, 2 lines at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thankful we have the author here to give us that clarification.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Who's next?
That would be Alan.
Russ,
Nathan.
and Nathan.
Yes.
So I can start with number 1.
You can start with number 1.
Who's number 2?
I'll do number 2.
And that would make me
Both characters.
both characters.
Yay!
The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The 3 unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. I'm scared, she stated, her voice all a quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes and a confident stride. Don't be afraid, I am here for you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle. Then get out of here. I am Miss Groundhog.
She introduced, still distressed.
I have no trade to offer on this frightening quest. I'm not courageous or fearless or brave. If there's danger, there's no life I can save.
I love the accents. Okay, now I after hearing like at least 2 reads, maybe I can give a little bit more back. For the first paragraph, I think the flow was a little bit off. Like it wasn't flowing from one line to the other. It was kind of a pause, like a stop, and then the next line, and a stop, then the next line. I don't know if anybody else heard that.
I was going to point that out as well, so go ahead.
A little bit.
And then the second one was very animated. It was good. And I think that's the first time it was like really more animated than some of the other ones. And then he contracted the "do not" again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Which seems to be a common thing. So I'm assuming when people are reading this to their children, they contract it too. It's fine. And then the third one, that was I like the accents. That was great. Like that was actually that was probably the best Miss Bear so far. Not that I was thinking that was going to be like a more northern accented character, but I think at least it was different than some of the other. It kind of set it apart from the other 2. You know, it seemed like the previous ones, you know, didn't really have a character for Miss Bear like that one did. Anyway, that's my feedback.
So
I dove into Yiddish grandmother.
Yeah. Well,
Alan, the reason it sounded like you were stopping after every line is because you were coming down at the end of every line. You said the trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. I mean, you did it at the end of every single line, so it sounded like it was just done, 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 instead of flowing like it should have.
Yeah, that reminds me of the robotic critique I got a number of
weeks
ago.
That was also from me, by the way.
Yeah, so thank you for that, by the way.
You noticed
I was really paying attention to that later on when I was doing auditions after that.
But that's why it just started sounding like it was just, you know, stopped after every line.
Okay, I'll try to change that. Ready for another run at this?
Well, I'd like to hear a slight variation, if that's okay. Nathan, sure. I'd like to hear like a sort of stronger and more self-confident Miss Bear, someone that's a little bit bigger, because I mean she's a bear.
Yeah, okay. I was a little struck by that.
More self-confident.
I kind of disagree. I mean, this is just my own personal opinion, obviously, but I actually felt that your Miss Bear and Miss Groundhog sounded really similar. Okay. Actually, it was both of those really sort of higher
together
character sounds. Yeah, I mean, you did vary them with the accent, but I mean, Miss Bear is a bear. I don't know, personally for this read, I would love to hear something that's a little bit more self-confident, stronger. You know, like. You know, I have never had anything to worry about, sort of feel.
Yeah, to me, to my understanding, the Ms. Bear is a very matronly and comforting person.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
when
that's
this
where,
person is there, nothing can go wrong.
yeah, and that's why I feel that self-confidence is a good thing to focus on specifically for that character, because a bear is not going to worry about anything. Like, there's very, very little a bear really worries about. They're confident in their ability to handle anything, and that's also very comforting to people around them. Is that sort of self-confidence?
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, let's give it a whirl. The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray, the ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The three unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver. I'm scared, she stated, her voice all a-quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes and a confident stride. Don't be afraid, I'm here for you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We'll solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. I am Miss Groundhog,
She introduced, still distressed.
I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I'm not courageous or fearless or brave. If there's danger, there's no life I can save.
Miss
Wow.
Bear sounded to me like Miss Piggy.
With an accent.
Yeah. Doesn't sound comforting when you're expecting,
Okay.
I actually pulled from a character, another character that I have in my long list of characters. A lady named Imogene.
Imogene.
Yeah.
She just loves gospel music, and she's done radio stuff to talk about how much she loves gospel music.
Okay. I mean, not particularly what I was thinking of, but let's see. What did everybody else think?
Alan, you did a lot better on the first paragraph for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
yeah, it wasn't so herky jerky. I thought the first paragraph went along much smoother.
Mm.
And then
It still sounded a little like an accountant was reading it to me.
Just a little bit, but it was a lot better than the first read.
Yeah.
Derek was about to say something. I saw that.
No. Sorry, I was just laughing at Michael. That's not exactly what I was thinking when I said that. Oh, my goodness.
And then one thing that I caught in both times but forgot to mention is in the second paragraph, it's do not be afraid. I am here for you now, not don't be afraid.
Yeah.
That was mentioned already.
That
Was
kind of,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
that helps it flow. No, that was mentioned in the last read, and then he just did it again. But
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, it helps it flow a little bit. Do not be afraid. I am here for you now. That's kind of why I didn't put the contraction in there. But again, like I said last time, that's, I'm sure parents who are reading it to their kids are probably going to say, don't be afraid, and, whatever else.
Yeah.
I also looked at Sir Hound. First time I looked at that and thought of Dudley Do-Right. Alas, do not be afraid. I'm here for you now. Sir Hound is my name.
Yeah, I think that's funny because actually later on in the books, like the two female characters make fun of him a little bit for kind of being a little dense. So
That could work then. Dudley was not known for having a sharp mind, let's just say.
No.
Dudley Do-Right of the Northwest Mounted Police, yes.
Hey.
Once again, a swipe at Canada. Very good.
A swipe at Canada, eh? Oh, I was
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, you know what they call the motor league up here, don't you? The
motorway?
CAA.
All right. So back to the reads. Is there anybody who hasn't done one of the other paragraphs that wants to give it a try? We'll probably do one more read where people just do whatever it is they want, just to see what it's like.
I wouldn't mind trying one of the character parts.
Okay. Would you like paragraph 2 or 3?
Number 2.
Okay. So Frank will read paragraph 2. Would somebody like to try reading paragraph 1 that hasn't?
I'll try
to read one. Okay, fine. I'll do Miss Bear and Miss Groundhog.
Okay, Richard's got 3.
I'll
We're
take
still...
one. I'm taking one. Hold on, my lord.
We offered at the same time, and I did rock, paper, scissors, and I lost.
All right. So we have Dan is number 1, Frank is 2, and Richard is 3.
Yes.
All right. Let's get this read going.
The trees were quite sparse at the place of their meeting. The clouds were dark and gray. The ground was dry and cracked, and the water was fleeting. The air smelled of rot and decay. The 3 unlikely strangers looked at each other for more than a moment or two. The situation was seemingly more than expected for this small and motley crew.
Little Miss Groundhog started to shiver.
I'm scared,
She stated, her voice all a-quiver. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side, no fear in his eyes, and a confident stride. Do not be afraid. I am here for you now. Sir Hound is my name, he announced with a bow.
My name is Miss Bear. You have nothing to fear. We will solve this queer riddle, then get out of here. Oh, I am Miss Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I'm not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
Okay, let's open it up. What did everybody think?
Miss Bear scared me.
It scared me too. I didn't know what I was going to do until I read it.
That was my favorite Miss Bear so far, personally.
Me too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I was
thinking
my
that
Miss
too,
Bear.
actually. I think that was one of my favorite Miss Bear so far.
Sounded like a very strong character.
Yeah.
You know, like a very,
Even
very
though-
confident,
yeah.
take charge kind of woman.
Yeah, even though you may not have consciously thought of it, I feel that read really hit that sort of like strong self-confidence that at least I was imagining from a bear.
Richard
Miss Bear
Richard
is a
Miss
force
Bear
of
didn't
nature.
sound like the local Yenta.
My one thing is you probably approached Miss Groundhog the same way, sort of, I don't know what I'm going to do until you did it. The thing is, though, is she didn't really sound very distressed about the whole thing. She sounded attached.
Yeah, that struck me too. Like in the second paragraph, it's I'm scared, she stated, her voice all a quiver. Her voice needs to be a little more a quiver there in the third paragraph too.
Yeah, I am Miss Groundhog, she said, still distressed. So, I mean, there's obviously, she's small, she's terrified, she's frightened. Like that I don't feel that really came through.
Okay.
So I'm Miss Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I'm not
Let me pause you right there real quick. Maybe to emphasize the fear, put a little emphasis on frightening quest. On this frightening quest. Because, I mean, obviously, Sir Hound does not have any problem with this. Miss Bear does not have any problem with this. She's the only one who's approaching this as this is frightening. But the other two, this is just another day in the woods. Come on. It's a hound in
the gloomy woods, though.
Yeah, pretty gloomy woods, but still, it's another day in the gloomy woods. But Miss Groundhog is not used to this. She's out of her element. And on top of that, she's talking to a bear. It could eat her at any moment. You think she'd be, put together and...
Yeah, she would only be a snack at best.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I mean, if the bear was a little hungry, there's
And the dog is sitting right next to her, like trying to protect her. Sir Hound rushed over to stand by her side.
But yeah, I just what I would love to hear from your Ms. Groundhog is a little bit more trepidation, fear, put a little bit of emphasis on frightening quest to sort of, it's a cheap way to emphasize that, yeah, you're scared.
Okay. Hi, Miss Groundhog, she introduced, still distressed. I have no trait to offer on this frightening quest. I'm not courageous or fearless or brave. If there is danger, there is no life I can save.
There you go. A little bit more like that, yeah.
Yeah. Closer?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Derek, what did you think? Handing it over to the author.
I think it got better for sure. I did like.
I'm not the best.
I think the Miss Bear was good. I think the Sir Hound sounded like a cross between the debonair James Bond type and the other one. So I think that was good too. Kind of like a cross. And then the first paragraph was just absolute crap.
Thank you, Derek.
Brother's love.
I'm just kidding. That was good. I think there was the way that it was read, though. Some of the other reads that were kind of putting a more, this is kind of a frightening situation they're getting into. They're going to this whole desolate area. So there wasn't as much like. I don't know. You guys know the words more than I do, but there wasn't as much like emphasis on how scary this place was in there.
Frank's Sir Hound reminded me of a hound dog from one of the classic Disney movies.
Mm-hmm.
Circa the 60s and 70s.
Fox and the Hound, or.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I really liked Russ's Sir Hound because it sounded more like that young confidence. Like maybe Sir Hound wasn't super, wasn't too old, but definitely still had that sort of confidence of youth. That's the kind of feeling that I got from Russ's Sir Hound, and it was one of my favorites.
Thanks.
No problem.
Are we going one more time, or is that it?
Well, we're after 6. We're past the hour, so
I'm gonna have to take off.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call it a night tonight. But who knows? Maybe we'll revisit this some other time. Maybe a different section of it. Hopefully, we can get Derek on here again to give us more feedback on another part.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would be fun. You guys got the characters down, so.
Well, we might have a different crew the next time you come in too.
Yeah, we could have new people.
Yes.
No, I enjoyed listening to you guys do this. So.
Well, we enjoyed having you on.
Glad you finally got.
Thanks for the script.
Yeah.
This
My
brings us
pleasure.
to the author.
It's available, at bookstores and Amazon. So.
Yeah, get on the top of the script. So.
This brings us to the close of another mic check. It has been awesome. Hey, and tonight we did not only one piece of copy, we did a piece of copy and a book. So you never know what kind of cool stuff you can do in here unless you come join us. So you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, and follow the link and join us. We're always here every week, Monday nights, 4 o'clock over there on the Pacific side, and 7 o'clock over here on the Eastern side. So we will see you next week.
Bye.
Later. Join us every Monday for free script practice. You can also find the Mic Check on Facebook and Twitter. If you like what you saw, then subscribe for more.